Animal tracking is the oldest form of interspecies communication. Connecting with an animal's footprint automatically puts us in touch with that animal's body and mind. My ability to communicate triggered when I was on a tracking course in the United States. Here I met John Young, a master tracker. He encouraged me to explore my abilities further. Expanding my nature awareness and tracking with John completely changed my life. John is a founder leader of a worldwide movement to help connect people with their natural heritage. Since childhood, John was mentored in traditional native tracking skills and deep nature connection.
You just stare into the footprint in a diffused, kind of relaxed way, and just, in a certain sense, begin talking. The way you need words, it's just sort of something starts to come. And then all of a sudden, out of the track comes a picture, and your mind is filled with an image. And it's a very clear image, and you couldn't have generated it yourself. There's so much information in that 1/1000th of a second, even in the look on the face of the animal looking back at you.
For a long time, John was the only person I could speak with about my ability to communicate with animals.
Okay, when did you first notice these skills coming on?
It was during our wolf tracking expedition 10 years ago. We were all woken at around 2 or 3 a.m. by the distant sound of wolves howling. I remember the next morning telling you about what happened to me in the night. When the wolves were howling, I had this spontaneous mini movie play in front of my eyes, which was the image of an elk kill, partially submerged in very shallow, muddy water, and the particular configuration of wolves and how 3 of them had walked slightly offset from each other, side by side, out of the water in a certain sort of sequence, and which direction they had done that. And I remember telling you about that the next morning, and a few hours later one of the tracking teams that were out following tracks and sign found exactly that scene.
I remember that morning we were able to verify that whole thing. We sat under those pines on that hill and looked out over that place. Remember, we had to take our time going in because the wolves were still there and we had to wait for them to leave. And I'd just been heard howling. Yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday.
And that's where I really did a lot of research and discovered this whole field called interspecies communication. Meantime, continuing doing tracking and being out on trails and so on, by just opening my awareness and really softening my body and my mind, I would start to have more intuitive experiences.
Anna started out as a systems analyst in the corporate world before she quit to become a full-time animal communicator. She is now regularly invited to help zoos, vets and sanctuaries to solve problems by communicating with the animals they have difficulty with.
When I am communicating something to an animal, I am silently forming a sentence in my head or a mental image and simply projecting that, and I imagine it landing in their space without using my vocal cords, without physically talking. When I get a response from an animal, it is in that universal language, something that my brain can then translate into images, emotions, thoughts, feelings or words, as a way for me to understand what just happened. And often our awareness goes straight to the area of the body where they are having a problem. They show us that right away. But they again show us from their perspective how they are experiencing that physical sensation. So one can tell the difference in the quality of a physical sensation or a pain. Is it a dull throbbing pain or a sharp stabbing pain? Is it there constantly or only occasionally? Is it quite surface level or more deep?